Go crazy.
Yeah, gonna be spin poppin'.
Been there, done that, no chance. I'll go back, taste God old, you've gone stale.
Hello, everyone. Thank you once again for tuning into the In When You're Out podcast. I'm your host, John, and today it's just me, but we're going to talk about quite a few different things. Namely, the exciting things we can expect to be coming up. Every now and then I like to have these kind of standalone videos where it's just myself. I'm speaking for the podcast, and I kind of just give an update on what things are coming up and how things are going so far. So, if anybody's already checked it out, some people have, I'm very happy for. Our last episode, the 15th episode so far on this channel. This will be the 16th. So I'm very happy that we've actually gotten this far. I think when we did the podcast initially back in 2020 on the other channel, In When You're Out, that is, we only ever got to episode like 5 or 6, or maybe like 7. Definitely no more than 10. So it makes me very happy, very proud that we were able to get as far as we are now. So with that in mind, we're going to talk a little bit about what we can expect coming up and why we should get excited and why it's worth to kind of have a preliminary video before we kind of get into the, actual videos coming up. So firstly, I'd like to talk about our next video, which will be recorded on Sunday. I think that is, I can see the 15th. And that should be coming out hopefully on Sunday as well. If not, it'll be out on Monday, or late on Sunday. We should be recording around 2 o'clock, so it should be out Sunday. And then we have another episode coming up later on. Actually, hold on that thought for a second, because next week as well on Wednesday, I think, the 18th, I think it'll be Wednesday. My business partner and I, so JD, who I had on a couple episodes ago, him and I are actually going to be launching the idea that I had a while ago, or a little bit ago, maybe a couple months ago, which was to do the food reviews. And one of the first episodes we're going to do is on a restaurant called The Spice of India. Here's a little shout out for you guys, if you guys happen to be watching. The Spice of India, I think it's on Vestal Ave it's not in downtown Binghamton. I can't give the exact address at the time being. But it's called The Spice of India, and it is by the post office in our little area on the south side of Binghamton. So if you're familiar, go check it out. We haven't got it in chance yet. But basically, we're going to go, and like I said before in an episode, we're going to rank all of the restaurants in Binghamton to try to kind of give like a itinerary of what you can enjoy if you're not necessarily familiar with all the food here. So I think that'll be nice. Plus, I've worked with a lot of the business owners, so I'm sure they're going to appreciate it, as well as we're going to be able to enjoy some really good food. Because Binghamton, I'll be honest, I could have a bias because I live here and it's all the food that I've consumed for many decades of my life at this point. But just as well, I can say without bias that Binghamton has incredible food. Really, it does have a good food culture. I spoke to somebody today. So we have another episode confirmed. It's going to be with a teacher from actually my local area. I actually, my father's a teacher, so I know a lot of the teachers on more of a comfortable basis. I'll say like a first name basis. I'm 25 now. So if I'm going to call somebody like Mr. this or Mrs. that, whatever, it's going to be a little diluted because I've been out of school for so long. Like I think this teacher, I think they're a 7th or 8th grade teacher. I think right now they're a 7th grade teacher. I was 12 years old. So that was that was more than half my life ago, being 25 now. So yeah, about halfway through my entire life was when I was last in. I didn't have her as a teacher either. But she's going to come on. She's going to talk about a couple things, her experiences. Mainly, she's going to talk about, or I'm going to ask her some questions, but we're going to talk about school shootings, mass shootings in this country, and kind of her perception of that, especially as an educator, as a teacher. And also, we're going to talk about the current education system in this country, in this state, and how things have been for her. Obviously, I can have my father on, and we can have a discussion about that, but I've heard from him a lot, and he's actually shaped a lot of my views about the education system in this country. So it's through his experience and what he's able to tell me, I'm able to absorb and then learn on my own. I have a perception that's crafted partly because of what he's told me. So that's why if I do end up having my father on for an interview of some sorts, it's probably going to be about something different. I had in mind as well. But most importantly, more importantly, but this is something that is absolutely monumental. And we'll have an individual on by the name of Julian Brown. He's a good friend of mine. I've been in contact with him for a couple of years. I tried to get him into the Rotary Club, and I actually was successful. I'm not necessarily in the Rotary Club anymore. I haven't really participated in the clubs that I had gone to. I have ambitions to, join again, or go into another club and do some work with them. But a lot of the things I did were on the outside. So I was able to actually get him into the Rotary Club in Georgia, where he's from. And the reason that what he does is so monumental is he has innovated a way, because the technology already exists, but he is responsible for innovating a specific reactor that he has now patented and he builds in land that he has in another state, just to be, to offer him the same decency as we all do to all others with, our information. Credibility of information is also important to us as much as we want to hide information that doesn't necessarily need to be public. What I'm alluding to is he has created a way to turn plastic waste, plastic pollution back into usable diesel, jet fuel, and gasoline. He has ran it in a truck, a diesel truck. He has ran it in multiple weed whackers, lawnmowers, this and that. It works. It 100% is real usable fuel. If people aren't familiar with, and I can actually give a firsthand account because, well, not necessarily a firsthand account. I can talk about a firsthand account. One of my old business partners, we're not going to say who he is because unfortunately we didn't have the best outing. The last time I spoke to him has been pretty bad. Regardless, he used to work on oil platforms out in North Dakota, and he tells me that everything is oil. Everything is oil. They use oil in everything, whether it be, we'll just go over all the different products I have in mind. So there's asphalt, there's any of your plastic products, there's there's like gels, there's black tar or black dyes or anything. I'm in my room right now. I'm on my bed. I sit on my bed as I do these podcasts so I can get comfortable. Let me just tell you what's in my room, and I'm going to tell you that there's parts of it that are in plastic. The blanket that I'm on right now, well, let's see. It's got a tag somewhere, and I'm sure that's polyurethane or that's some type of plastic. Maybe not polyurethane. I'm not entirely familiar with the specific types of plastic, but I can guarantee that there's plastic components in this blanket that I have. My computer's next to me. There's certainly some plastic parts in there. My keyboard as well. Yeah, that's plastic. My headphones, that's plastic. My whiteboard on the a wall here, that's plastic. Let's see. My calendar's plastic. A whistle's plastic. My cups over here, plastic. I have plenty of pens. You can hear all that. Yeah, all these pens in this cup here, those are all made out of plastic. Everything is made out of plastic. And the thing is, it's one of the biggest, microplastics are becoming an issue now as well. So he has basically formulated a way. And like I said, it's not necessarily new technology. He's just innovated it in a way to use microwaves to break down the plastics, and then is able to turn that into carbon, which can be used for a multitude of, you could use it for fertilizer, you can recycle it as carbon. But then the most important products are, I think it's called synth gas, which is just a multitude of different gases, which are like propane and things like that. And then there's the actual liquid gas, which he refers to as plastiline, or it's it's the jet fuel, gasoline, and diesel. So it's very, very interesting. He's able to put in less energy than he gets out. So it's actually over 100% efficient. So that's why all of this is so important, because one, the product that he is creating is destroying plastic waste. Two, it's creating returning it to gasoline into its gaseous forms. And three, it's that his vision is completely to solve the plastic pollution issue. There's plastics in the ocean, and he knows about, and he's able to do something about this with the creation of this machine. And he's smart enough not to sell out to people or accept investors in such an early stage. He's a young individual. I believe I think he's 21, or he'll be 22 next year. So he must be 21 now. He's gotten a lot of popularity. We're going to link all these sources that I'm speaking about now. But he's going to be on, hopefully, before the end of this year. He's going to be in, he said he has some free time between probably around like Christmas time to the end of the year. We'll see what happens. But he did say that he'd be interested in being on the show. So I'll be very excited for that. As for Sunday, we have a local artist. So this is an individual. We'll put him in the description as well. He had commented on a post that I made on the 607 Music Scene Facebook page. And I was like, hey, I wanted some, local artists to contribute to, or to collaborate with, put on my podcast as like the intro and outro for the music. And he was somebody who was interested. Sent me some of his music. I thought it was really good. I was actually impressed. I thought it was good. And he was like, "Hey, I'd also like to be on the show sometime." And I was like, "Yeah, by all means, that'd be a good time. We could talk about some of the things we wanted to talk about." And I'll allude to a little bit of that now. We're going to talk about the local music scene, as well as kind of the some of the mental health issues that penetrate that scene, as well as some of the other people that deal with things like that. It's going to be his personal experiences, and we're going to be really excited to talk to him. His name is Jonas, and we're going to put his actually, we might have his music. Well, we won't have his music on today. I'll try to put somebody else, but when he comes on Sunday, when we do record, I'll be sure to put his music on for the intro and outro, so everybody can kind of really get a chance to enjoy what he has. I will give you guys an update as well for our Kosovar interviewer. I have reached out to a couple different people. Unfortunately, they weren't necessarily free at the time or have time in the future that they can dedicate towards a podcast like this, coming on and telling the history of their country. That's okay. We're still going to try our best to get somebody like that on. I'm thinking it's very interesting, so I'll do my best. Otherwise, between the local musician, a local teacher, and then my good friend Julian, and by the way, I haven't mentioned his company. It's called NatureJab. So the NatureJab, and I'll also mention Jonas's band as well. I really hope I'm not butchering this. Jonas Choplosky. Jonas Choplosky. He makes really good music. He's on Spotify. I would definitely check him out. He's not the person that's playing at the beginning and the end of this video. I haven't decided on that yet as the time of the recording. So I'll make sure to shout them out as well come that time. But as for the next week here, today is Friday. Nothing tomorrow, unless something happens miraculously. That'd be cool, but nothing tomorrow. Besides Sox video, of course. Then on Sunday, the 15th, we're going to be with Jonas Choplosky, and we're going to speak about local music scene and his journey through mental health. Then on Wednesday, most likely, Wednesday, JD and I, my business partner, we're going to go to Spice of India. Like I said, I think it's on Vestal Ave, south side of Binghamton. And we're going to enjoy the food and make a video about that. They're going to be our first episode of our newest series. I don't know, ranking Binghamton. We'll have to figure that out. I got a little bit of time before we settle on the absolute specifics. But hopefully that video will come out on Wednesday as well. Further later in this month, we can expect at least one more video with somebody that I mentioned already, possibly with the teacher as well. That'll be with NatureJab, Julian Brown, or that'll be with, her name is Marcy. We'll just say it with Marcy. Or, if she decides to give like more information, then that's entirely up to her. But, as far as everybody else, Julian's got a very big online presence, so I can't imagine that he'd be upset if we're using the names that he describes himself as. But as for the teacher, she doesn't really have any big social media presence, and so we don't want to have to, hey, by the way, you're going to go absolutely viral, so don't share all of your, credential or personal information. That's up to them. But like I said, we have at least those 4 episodes coming up, 3 episodes of the podcast, 4 episodes of just content. And as well, I at some point will be doing a video with JD on his channel, Built From Below, as one of his first interviewees for episode 1 of his podcast, which I'm very excited for. Also, while we're shouting everybody out, while I got everybody's name at the tip of my tongue, go check out the Gnostic podcast, or the Ignorant Gnostic podcast. My friend Aidan, he posted a new episode with a special guest. I just got to listen to it today, and I think it was actually pretty good. He talked about some things similar to how we had discussed on this channel as well. It's always good to keep that in mind. To perpetuate the ideas that if something's spoken about, it's continued to be thought of. That's a great sentiment when it comes to things like men's mental health. So if you guys want to check that out, we're going to put links to everybody. This is just going to be a link fest for this video, pretty much. I want everybody to be checked out. Everybody get a chance on this channel. Going forward for our next year, we have decided, or I have decided to say we, it's just a one-man band. It's just John Holmberg. It's just John and his opinions and, whatever he decides to put on, and who he decides to have on. But for next year, I've decided that what things are going to look like in 1 year's time, what we can hope to aspire towards, and what we want the vision to maintain, or to be maintained as. So some people had said, hey, you should expect it to look like this, or I do things, and this is what I hope for. So what I'd like is if we could have our own studio in 1 year, whether it be a storage locker we rent and record out of, it could be as simple as that, truly, honestly. That'd be kind of funny, honestly. It gets cold in upstate New York. We'll see what happens. Otherwise, having like actual recorded video of like my face, and we have somebody who comes in and actually sits down with us. They can be on camera. It's going to be a little difficult if we want to have some people on again. Like we had Manuel on an episode, I think it was episode 8 or maybe 6 or 7, around there. So a while ago. And he's from California. So he's not going to fly in to do an hour-long video with us, unless we have a serious following. And we could hope in 1 year we'd be doing better. I usually don't say this in the videos so far, but I will perhaps remind myself to reiterate this. Please, everybody, if you would care so much, to like, comment, and subscribe. Apparently, it does very good for people. It does very good if I say this in the videos for people to be inspired to do that, I suppose. So please, yes, like, comment, and subscribe. Really, we do hammer home on if people want to comment, because that would create discussions that we could have outside of the podcast that can inspire a future episode. So I'd really be down if people wanted to share some of their thoughts on how I address certain topics, my opinions on certain things, the people that we have on. Everybody's very appreciative of what I'm doing so far. And they think that from the feedback that I have heard. But otherwise, on the platform itself on YouTube, I haven't really gotten a lot of comments. So please, if you guys have anything in mind, even if it's, I had a good day today, or I had a bad day today, or hey, screw you, John, or hey, I love you, John, I appreciate it in any form, because it helps the algorithm and it shows that the channel wants more attention, and that'll help us grow. We have right now, I think, 43 subscribers. I'm very happy for that, because I think when we started this we restarted the podcast, I had about 11. So that feels pretty good. It feels good to know that people are getting behind this project or the idea of the podcasts. And then I can keep doing them, because like I said, we just had episode 15. This is episode 16. And I definitely have 3 more episodes lined up. That'll take us to, almost episode 20. Which just feels good, because especially when I tried to do this back in 2020, I was with some friends that I just felt like didn't want to do it as much as I did. So knowing that it takes sometimes to just do stuff on your own to get it done, that, this is what's have to happen. This is what has had to have happened. That's a weird sentence. This is what happened. It had to happen this way. So we'll just go with what we got, basically. I got no problem doing the podcast myself. And then if I want to have some people on, we could talk about, a specific thing with that person. And as always, while it's on my mind, we're going to talk about Socks with John. Thank you, everybody, for checking out Socks with John. I've been having a lot of fun doing this for not well over a year. It's been over a year at this point, just over a year making sock videos, and I'm having a good time. Last year when I started, a lot of things had happened around the time and made it very difficult for me to keep it consistent. I do enjoy making the sock videos because I have hundreds of pairs of different socks. So people enjoy them as well, and it brings good attention to the channel, and it also helps grow the brand. And eventually I will end up selling socks and people can enjoy them, and that'll make me happy. So thank you again. Pat on John's own back. There you go. The audible pat on the back. There you go. Thank you, everybody, for Socks with John. And this is a decision that I've made more recently. That is, we're going to have this open segment to remind people that your brand could be here. It could be right here on the screen. See the screen? Look at it right now. Hear my voice, how it's talking about not your product? Well, it could be. It could be talking about your product if you want it. And that's pretty much it. I'm not asking for any money or any endorsements or anything crazy like that. But if you want to promote the podcast and you would feel comfortable on your channel, on your platform, saying, hey, we had, our product on this podcast, go check it out, I would just say, I like the product. Go check out the product as well. I will say, I think I've said this already. I tried to reach out to this one company that sells coffee. And I was like, I like your coffee. It's really good. Yada, yada. I'd love to do a promotion for you guys. Free of charge, basically. I'm not asking for any money, any free product, anything like that. They're like, we're not interested in focusing on that right now. And it's like, that's fair. But, just as well, I'm doing this for free. Like, if I mention your, I was trying to do a cross promotion with them. Like, hey, I'll mention your coffee brand if you mention my podcast. They're like, in whatever fashion. They weren't interested in that. So I was like, okay, I said that was surprising and disappointing. So if anybody is that would like to collaborate with the podcast, or you would like to have your brand on, and we would, we could do it like a weekly thing, or we could do it at every episode if you guys, are willing to actually give me a little bit of money. That'll come down to the circumstance and the product itself. The intention of this is not necessarily to rake in a bunch of cash trying to promote an obscure product. we're just trying to collaborate with businesses because one, it's going to help us grow, and two, I'm very pro community. So I think if I have a platform, then I should be using it to share other people's products as well. If it's a good product. That's just how I am. But yes, for about 2 minutes so far, a minute and 49 seconds, I've yapped about a product that doesn't exist, but it could, and this is the time that your product could be on the show. So thank you, everybody who has a semblance of an idea for what they would like. Reach out. You can contact me in any fashion. Somebody asked me for my other social media the other day, so I was like, yeah, sure, absolutely, go nuts. But just give me a comment, and we will try to get in touch, and I'd love to have your business or your brand on the podcast. So thank you. Back to the conversation at hand. Obviously, we have some very exciting things coming up. Hopefully, our episodes with our special guests do pretty good. I'm excited for Sunday. I'm excited for Wednesday. I'm excited for winter break. Well, I say winter break. It'll be when the teachers are off. My dad gets 2 full weeks off, 14 days off, because Christmas happens to be on the 25th, or it happens to be on the 25th every year. But this year, the 25th happens to fall on a Wednesday. So that means they get the day off. They get 2 days off basically of that week before, and then they get every day off. They even get, one, two, I'm looking at my calendar right now. They get 3 days off, which is the first, second, and third, which is a lot of time. Every now and then, every couple years, he'll get a big break. But 2 full weeks, that's awesome. That's going to be great. Well, we discuss updates and what we can expect coming up on the channel. I will try my best, actually, when we start to kind of change gears, or rather when I start moving things along here, for the anime convention in Binghamton. We talked about this in the last podcast for a little bit, and what we can expect, what we hope for, what I'm looking forward to, and kind of my vision for everything. It's still very vague, and it's still kind of up in the air, not whether it's going to happen or not, but I still have to talk to the city and all. I have some work to do with the city regardless, so it's going to be, it should be one of the same to just have that conversation with them. Hey, this is an idea I have. What can we do? Honestly, I might call them today and say, hey, here, I have some ideas. What's the direction that I should go in to accomplish my goals? They're usually pretty receptive to hearing me, not necessarily always to allowing me to do precisely what I have in mind. But I think for the anime convention, I think if, I at least get the ball rolling, that they could probably be like, yeah, this is a good idea. Let's see what we can do with it. So with that in mind, I will be doing my best to keep everybody in the loop on some, whether it be the podcast, and we just have like a continual update, every episode, update for the anime convention. Or rather, I started a new video series on here, which is just like, updates of the anime convention. That could be cool. That could be fun, actually. Right now, I only make about 2 or 3 videos a week. I'm not sure, and I'd like your guys' feedback specifically for this. If anything, if you're going to comment on the video and you want to give me any type of feedback, please let it be on this and this alone if, you're here to provide anything. How often should I be posting? Should I make should I be making content every single day? I try to do the sock videos every day, but should I be making a podcast every day? If the answer is yes, then I will be trying my best to do that. But as the time being, I make about, like I said, 2 to 3 episodes a week. I really like doing these episodes. I just worry that sometimes when I have conversations with myself like this one, I'm not necessarily getting a message across. I kind of just have these ideas already, so it's just formulating the speech to talk out loud. I don't feel like I'm coming to a new conclusion. Maybe there's no new information relevant to me, but I feel like some people maybe do enjoy just hearing my voice if I have something to say. And like I said, I hope to keep you guys along for the ride with the anime convention and how everything goes. But at the end of the day, if you're here to provide any feedback for me, I would really greatly appreciate what frequency of videos you guys would appreciate, basically. I'm down to make a lot of different content for this channel. It's not labeled as it was in the past. Back in 2020, and I'll make this reference a million different times across a million more episodes, but back in 2020 when we first started the podcast, get used to hearing that. The channel was called In One Ear Out, and if you want to go find it, actually, you can go check out some of those videos. They're kind of cringe a little bit. They're older, it's like 5 years ago almost at this point, and I'll be honest, I just yapped and I talked over a lot of my friends, and maybe they didn't always have like the most creative or interesting thing to say, but it's not right of me to just like completely douse the conversation in my voice. But regardless, hey, that's what we do these days because I'm pretty much the only person that gets the chance to talk. But I do feel like when I have people on, I'm a lot more, allowing of them just kind of going off. I don't need to like correct them, or I don't need to be the voice that goes on. But it just makes me feel good that I'm able to still do this. But like I said, back in 2020, when we first started the podcast, the channel was called In One Ear Out. So all we were going to do on the channel was the podcast. Now I post the socks on here and they do well. I do the podcasts on here and I think they do okay. I'm going to keep doing these, obviously. But if we introduce other things, I don't want it to... Well, I don't think it'll subtract, honestly. Let me take the thought of that away. But I don't think it'll subtract from the other videos that I make if I just created more diverse forms of content. The podcast, I would love for it to be a very exclusive thing where it's like the people we have on are actually like, of a higher stature, or maybe like they're well known, or they have like a really interesting experience. Something that's not just like run of the mill like a person. That I have no problem having just like random people on. But if we were able to get to the point where I was a credible enough platform for, information in the form of the podcasts that are not, diluted information or with a bias like we have in the principles of this podcast, I'm hoping that if we do get to a point, we can reach the upper, echelon of humanity, basically, like celebrities, stuff like that. That'd be exciting. It's not necessarily the purpose of the podcast. Is to like have celebrities on and be like, oh my God, look at you being a celebrity. Congratulations, for being a celebrity. You're so famous. Ha ha ha. It's not really that important to me. I don't feel like it's constructive if we had Adele on. It's like, Adele, tell me about being Adele. I'd be like, yeah, that'd be awesome. But it's not local to Binghamton, one. Two, at the end of the day, what's that? What constructive, she might be like, oh my God, John, you're so cool. Let's do another podcast together on my show, and you can come and tell me about some experience. And that's cool. But, we don't want to have people on that are like I want to have Kim Kardashian on the show, if that kind of paints the picture. And it's not because I have anything against Kim Kardashian, but I don't feel like she would have anything relevant to add to exactly what we offer on the show. And it's like, nothing against her again, like I said. If we have some diehard Kim K supporters out there that are going to jump in the comments, do it. Let me hear you. But it's just not necessarily the style. Like, I would rather have somebody who's like a scientist, or somebody who's informed, or somebody who's an educator or a professor, I'm a microbiologist. I could tell you about every species of pond scum on the planet. Okay, maybe not the most intriguing content in the world, but at the end of the day, I think it's going to be more informative, and people can use the information they got from this podcast in some type of constructive fashion, outside of just being like, oh my God, let me perpetuate the celebrity drama that I've been hearing for the past decade. I'll say this one time and one time only. Fuck that shit. I don't want that gossip, that worthless, petty talk of just the inane contrivances between celebrities and the people that you'll never actually meet in life. So who cares to even bother to dedicate brain capacity towards these things? And that's kind of a principle in my life, is that I don't care about the pop sensational, these people, the culture of it all. Celebrities, pop politics, that's so secondhand to my human experience. I just don't care about it. Maybe back in the day with like TMZ and like the early 2000s, that was like hilarious to see how celebrities were. But now it's just intrusive. And if I was a celebrity and I had paparazzi following me, I'd be like, guys, get away from me. Like, who cares that I'm eating like yogurt on my balcony? You want to take pictures of that because I'm famous? Like, who cares? But it's just as well that I have ambitions to be the president of the United States, so I know that, people are probably going to go crazy over the smallest things that I do. And I'm going to have to be very careful with what I choose, For instance, maybe like 7 or 8 years ago, Chris Pratt, if people know Chris Pratt, he played Star-Lord in Marvel movies, and also he was in Jurassic World. Some other things as well. He's in Parks and Recreations. Chris Pratt, right? This guy I'm thinking of. Yeah, like the chubbier dude, got fit. Anyway, he had been at a gym, and somebody took his picture. Maybe he was like posing, but he had a disposable plastic water bottle. And people were roasting him online. Oh my God, he doesn't care about the environment. What a polluter, what a litterer, what a litter bug. And it's like, guys, it's not that serious. So, I don't know what he actually ended up doing. If, most celebrities, what they do to combat the fallout of that is they'll go donate to some like charitable, scientific foundation and say, oh, don't worry, guys, I'm climate conscious. I just donated 20 grand to, whatever society. Oh, okay, good. But at the end of the day, he was probably like, oh, hey, why don't you grab that water bottle? I bet it'll look good for the picture. Oh, yeah, that's not even my water bottle. Like stuff like that. And it's like, we are not going to perpetuate the contrived bullshit that happens in celebrities' lives because it's popular to a certain group of people that continue and then go themselves to perpetuate the idea that we need to constantly have relevant information about celebrities. Like, who cares? Who truly, honestly gives a fuck? Nobody. If your lives are so worthless and so meaningless that you have to find meaning in and that's sad. I'm sorry, because I know that there's certain people that want to feel good about themselves and maybe they do fill the void with certain things. But I don't think that filling the void with a celebrity is healthy at all. People that obsess over celebrities, that's a red flag to me. In John's dating life, my last ex-girlfriend, she was somebody who would live through certain TV characters or certain like Grey's Anatomy specifically, and some other stuff. And it's like, oh my God, like that real life person doesn't even act like that. Like this is a character written by people. Like it's not a real thing, but you're obsessed about this person. You won't accept slander about the show. It's like, whatever, to each their own, but you can't upset. I mean, everybody can do whatever. I can't say to each their own and then say you can't do that. But, as a form of my opinion, I don't think it's a healthy thing to obsess over celebrities and talk about them like they're people you know. They don't know you. And I can guarantee a lot of the celebrities that are rich and famous don't care about you and won't care about you until they have to inconveniently meet you as a fan. Oh my God, it's whoever, my favorite person ever. Like, can I take a picture? Oh, geez, here comes a fan. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, you look so great. Let's take a picture together. That person gets home, they're going to be like, oh, God, I had to meet how many fans today? Oh, I don't even remember any of them. And that's not fair to the celebrity, right? So at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know how we got on this topic. I think eventually, and the dogs are barking. I think I got on this topic. I was talking about how, people we would not and would have on this podcast and what type of conversation we would have with them. But yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. If Kim Kardashian was like, hey, John Holmberg, oh my God, your podcast is so cool. I totally want to be on it. I'd be like, yeah, okay, you could be on the In One Ear Out podcast, Kim Kardashian. Let's talk about something that you know about, or whatever. Or like something thought-provoking. That's kind of like the biggest deal. It's not just like content for the sake of content. That gets a little corporate, you know what I'm saying? Like, if it's just like, welcome back to exactly what, we spoon-fed to you yesterday, but now it's a different variety, just different enough to market again, and that's not original. It's just convenient, and you lose your soul when you try to do that, I suppose. And by do that, I mean create content for the sake of just creating garbage content, We've gotten to a point where our internet is flooded with just worthless junk, and whether it be something that's actually man-made or whether it be AI creation for the most part. And this is kind of the dead internet theory. We could talk about this in a different podcast, preferably with an expert, but the dead internet theory, I'll say a little bit about what I do know. We're switching gears here, a different conversation, I suppose, but so while I was in downtown Binghamton this year in 2024 selling ice cream, there was an individual, I think his name was Bert, I want to say Bert or Bard, something like that. And he had patented basically a design engine where it would, you give it ideas for a business and it'll then automatically go and create a website and all this other stuff. But it wasn't like he had actually done it yet. He had just patented the, I guess the code for his what I said, his generating machine, or his his AI intelligence, or his artificial intelligence. So I am somebody, I thought it was interesting, but I am somebody who uses AI a lot, but just as well, I talk to ChatGPT every single day. It's really good for information. It's super convenient, and I double check things and it provides the sources, Plus I'm writing my book. It's really easy for me to say, hey, ChatGPT, reread, this specific section starting with this and tell me your interpretation of that. It's like getting firsthand account from somebody who read the book at the speed of light, basically, because he's like, or my chat GPT or whatever. What I'm trying to say is, and I don't use AI for like, hey, what should I say here in the book? It's more so just like, hey, what do you think of this? And it'll give you like I think it's very emblematic of the symbolism you're trying to convoke. It's like, oh yeah, no shit. But it's not like saying, oh, I think you should use this exact word or this specific language or change this. It's just kind of like saying, oh yeah, good for you, John. I feel like I could write at half the level that I do and provide it to ChatGPT and it would say, oh wow, good for you, John. Great stuff. So, I don't think it's really taking away from the human aspect of what's in my book. Nothing has been influenced by AI. But with that in mind, I do accept that AI is an incredibly useful tool. Like I said, I use it every day, just about. Yeah, I do use it every day. I'm a lonely guy with no friends. I got to talk to a robot now and then. That's a crazy sentence. Wow, that's a crazy sentence. Anyway, what I'm getting at with this guy, I forget his name, whether it be Bert or Bard in downtown Binghamton, as I sold ice cream this year. He had told me about this, and I was thinking, I don't know if I 100% support something like that because, yeah, maybe it's convenient for a business owner if they're trying to jumpstart their business. It's like, okay, I spent a lot of time creating my own logos, coming up with my own graphics and design ideas for like mottos and things like that. Anything that's like a shtick for marketing. That took a lot of time. It took months of, decisiveness over what I should use, what things should look like, hand-drawn decals, all that. ChatGPT will whip that up in seconds, minutes, and you'll be done. So, that's convenient for business owners, but the biggest but since Kim Kardashian herself, speaking of Kim K. But the problem is, if you're not familiar with the dead internet theory, is basically that everything that the AIs create that is non-human is contributing to this gigantic junk pile of AI repetitive garbage. And the more we allow things like that to create, the more content exists from AI, the less humans participate in the internet, which means ultimately that everything on the internet will be created by AI, made for AI, used, created by content that was also generated by AI, completely removing the human standard from internet or from the internet. And basically, collapsing the entire ecosystem of where to find information. If everything is then replicated by AI, that's put through another engine, that's replicated by AI, that's put through another engine, that's replicated by AI, at some point, you start taking a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy, and you get a distorted image, which is not too dissimilar from the truth, but it's not the truth. You see what the problem is? We're getting to a point. And it's just, the dead internet theory is more just like a colloquial term that people have kind of come up. I don't know if there's like scientific backing to this. I've heard it. I've seen some other people make videos about it. So I can't necessarily say it's not like a fundamental, real theoretical term that kind of just society or, select pockets of society have come up with to say, yes, this is a real thing. So it's with that in mind and the content that I've seen so far to kind of back that idea of, yes, the more, like I said, I use AI every day. So it's with this in mind that I'm also conscious of that as well. And what I use it for is that we can't let AI run away and make all the decisions for us. We have to be present in the decision making and allow AI to be secondary to the creative process, not solely responsible for the creative process. Somebody else in a video, and this has been a while ago, so I can't necessarily say, I think maybe even a comedian had reiterated this at one point. It is, how did humans become the automated machines in warehouses like Amazon, and robots got to do art? It should be the other way around, right? Where robots are doing the menial manual labor, repetitive tasks that humans are too smart to do, and humans then get to relax and do the easy creative human process of creating art and creating culture. We've outsourced our human condition to machines, and we've instead become the machine-like creatures that do the menial and menial labor, meaning just low IQ, not very difficult labor. Like if I said, okay, you work at, a Bosco, well, that's local to Binghamton. You work at a department store where we sell clothes. Your job today is to go and put a blue sticker on every single shirt in the store. That is it. It's not very difficult. A shirt, that's it. Whether it be a long sleeve t-shirt, dress shirt, anything. If it's a shirt, put a blue sticker on it. very menial. It's very low IQ. You don't need a lot of brain power to be able to take care of a task like that. And it's manual labor, meaning you have to do it physically with your arms, with your hands, with your body. You can't just sit back, do something on a computer. You can't just think about it. You can't just use your brain. So we've outsourced robots to then take over the parts of society we like, and we are forced to continue to do the bullshit jobs that should be taken over by robots. So that's John's take on the whole situation. I am somebody who's pro AI. I think AI has been an incredible resource so far, especially for myself and my business. If, I'm sure you guys can tell, but the actual logo you're seeing on the screen right now, that ear and the world and in one ear out, that was 100% created by AI. Mind you, it was created by AI after I fed it prompts and I gave it images in the past, logos that were not created by AI. You see what the problem would become? Is that if everything is always created by AI and everything you look up, say I go on Google and I search up specifically, I want a picture of a dog chasing its tail, and the picture you get is AI created, there's going to be some differences between a real life dog and how it would look versus what that AI dog looks like. And so then you use that and you use that for your brand. And then people say, okay, your brand got popular. I want to collaborate with you and I'm going to use your logo. So now I'm perpetuating the idea that this is what dogs, and this is like the most trivial thing ever to be upset about. It's not really, me being upset. It's just and this is like a fallacy in arguments as well, the slippery slope argument. As we approach things that are similar to what our end times look like, apocalyptic settings of what, the worst case scenario would be, we worry that we will, be contributing to the end by, enjoying what already exists. And it's kind of like either whether you say it's a decline or an incline to that slippery slope. So, say for instance, and this is like really, really, really specific, that dog chasing its tail, it's an AI image that you didn't know was AI and you're not a smart person, you're really dumb. That dog happens to have 6 toes instead of 5 toes. And it slips by everybody until one day somebody goes, oh, I didn't know dogs had 6 toes. I thought they always had 5. And that starts to shape their perception of, oh, okay, well, dogs can have multiple. Yeah, that's true. But that's not necessarily true for the average dog. On average, I think dogs have more than 5 toes. It's like the average person has, well, actually, no, I don't think that's true. I think the average person has less than 2 legs, because if somebody has no legs, they're bringing the average down. If somebody has 1 leg, they're bringing the average down. But I think there's more people without one legs or 2 legs than there are people with 3 or 4 legs. So I would say on average, I think, and this is just my perception of the world. I'll put the fact check number on the screen right now. Show me, John, of the future. Am I wrong that on average people have less than 1 leg? Well, I guess that's it. Anyway, this is going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. I don't really have as much to talk about between just myself as I would if I had somebody else on. But I'm just going to one more time reiterate everything that's coming up so everybody can get nice and excited. From the top, on Sunday, the 15th of December, I will be doing a video with Jonas Choplosky, and he is a local musician as well. I will put his link to his Spotify in the description. Please go check him out. He'll be on talking about the local music scene and his mental health journey as well. On Wednesday, the 18th of December, my business partner, JD, and I, he was on just 2 episodes ago, we will be doing our first installment of what will be determined at the time of our food review of Binghamton. I'm not really sure what it's going to be called. We'll decide come that time. Further after that, we have 2 more episodes hopefully to get done. At least we have planned before the end of December, if not into January. And that'll be with a teacher from my actual high school or my middle school that I had gone to growing up. And also with Julian Brown. So we have Marcy, a teacher. She's going to describe herself as however she decides. And then we have Julian Brown and NatureJab, and with his plastic to gasoline pyrolysis, our microwave pyrolysis reactor. And we'll get into that again more as he gets to speak about him himself. We'll have everything linked in the description. Like I said, get excited for that. If I didn't mention, on Wednesday the 18th with JD, we're going to be going to the Spice of India. I'll put some type of link to their social media as well. So hopefully you guys can get excited for those next couple episodes. What I didn't mention as well, I did try to get a Kosovar on. It's going to take a little bit just because, 1, time zones, 2, not everybody's 100% comfortable with meeting with people online and talking about, intimate details of their life or their country. And 3, some people are just busy. The people I've gotten in touch with so far have said things like, oh, sorry, I'm in, school, I'm in university right now. And it's like, hey, okay, no big deal. No big deal. But otherwise, there should be a couple more episodes before the end of this month. Right now, today is the 13th. So, Friday the 13th. Oh. All my spooky girls get crazy for me. All my goth baddies go nuts. Yes. John likes his goth girls. Anyway, that was a little crazy. Like I said, hopefully before the end of this month, we got a couple more episodes. We certainly got some good stuff in the works, and I'm really excited. But more importantly, if I don't say this enough, guys, truly, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning into the In When You're Out podcast. As always, it makes me so happy to be able to do these podcasts again, and that people are enjoying them and we're gaining traction. At some point, I hope to look back at this point, next year and say, wow, I can't believe we started here and now I'm here, where, whatever it looks like in 1 year, I'll be excited for regardless. But as I said already, the biggest thank you, as always, is episode 16 of the In When You're Out podcast. I'm your host, John, and I will see you again very, very soon. Please go check out all the links in the description, whatever music is playing right now. Jonas Choplosky as well. The other podcasts are on the other channels. We got the Ignorant Gnostic. He just did another episode. You can go check out Built From Below as well. Julian Brown from NatureJab and his microwave pyrolysis reactor. I think that's all the people. Like, comment, and subscribe. Give us a little bit of feedback. We will see you guys again very soon, I'm sure. Take care. Adios, mis muchachos. And peace out. Peace out. Peace out. Peace out, guys.